Emperor Ashoka was one of the greatest monarchs of ancient India who ruled the Maurya Empire from 273 BCE to 232 BCE. He was the grandson of Chandragupta Maurya and the son of Bindusara. Ashoka is remembered as a Buddhist king who renounced war and embraced peace and non-violence. His reign marked a significant period in the history of India, and his life story is both inspiring and thought-provoking. Emperor Ashoka, also known as Ashoka the Great, ruled the Maurya Empire in India from 268 BCE to 232 BCE. He is known for his contributions to Buddhism and his efforts to promote peace and non-violence throughout his empire. Early life and ascension to the throne. Ashoka was born in 304 BCE to Queen Subhadrangi and Emperor Bindusara. He was the third ruler of the Maurya dynasty. His father was a powerful emperor who conquered many territories in the Indian subcontinent, but Ashoka was not interested in military conquests. Ashoka was brought up in the court of his father and received a good education in the art of governance, religion, and military strategy. In 273 BCE, after the death of his father, Ashoka ascended to the throne of the Maurya Empire. He was only 20 years old at the time and faced many challenges as a young ruler. He had to contend with rival claimants to the throne, including his own brothers. However, Ashoka was determined to establish himself as a powerful and just ruler, and he succeeded in doing so through his shrewdness and diplomatic skills. Early wars and conquests. In the early years of his reign, Ashoka engaged in a number of wars and conquests to expand his empire. He conquered Kalinga, a powerful kingdom in eastern India, in a brutal war that lasted for 2 years. The war resulted in the death of over 100,000 people and the displacement of many more. This war was a turning point in Ashoka's life and led him to embrace Buddhism and non-violence. After the Kalinga War, Ashoka realized the futility of war and conquests. He was filled with remorse and decided to dedicate the rest of his life to promoting peace and non-violence. He renounced war and set out to establish a just and compassionate society. Ashoka's conversion to Buddhism. After the Kalinga War, Ashoka was deeply affected by the suffering and destruction he had witnessed. He became disillusioned with violence and conquest and began to search for a way to bring peace and harmony to his people. He was introduced to Buddhism by a Buddhist monk named Upagupta, and he was deeply impressed by the teachings of the Buddha. Ashoka embraced Buddhism and became a devoted follower of the Buddha's teachings. He believed that the principles of Buddhism, such as non-violence, compassion, and tolerance, were the key to creating a peaceful and harmonious society. He also believed that it was his duty as a ruler to promote these principles and to work towards the welfare of his people. Ashoka's policies and reforms. After his conversion to Buddhism, Ashoka set out to implement a series of policies and reforms that would promote the well-being of his subjects. He issued edicts that promoted religious tolerance and encouraged the practice of virtue and morality. He built hospitals, rest houses, and other public facilities for the welfare of his people. Ashoka also appointed a group of officials known as the Dharma Mahamatras, whose job was to ensure that his policies were being implemented effectively. These officials were responsible for enforcing the laws and regulations that Ashoka had put in place, and they were also tasked with promoting the welfare of the people. Assessment of Emperor Ashoka. Assessing Ashoka's reign is complex as he was a complex ruler who experienced significant personal and political transformation during his life. During the first part of his reign, Ashoka was known for his military conquest and expansion of the Mauryan Empire. However, after the Kalinga War, Ashoka was deeply affected by the suffering he had caused and embraced Buddhism. This transformation led him to renounce violence and promote dharma, which included principles such as non-violence, compassion, and respect for all living beings. Ashoka's promotion of Buddhism and dharma had a significant impact on Indian society and beyond. He built numerous stupas and temples, and his support for the religion helped it to spread throughout India and eventually to other parts of Asia. He also established policies that promoted social welfare, such as the construction of hospitals and the distribution of medicine, and he encouraged the use of ethical principles in government and business. Overall, Ashoka's reign can be seen as a turning point in Indian history, as it marked a shift away from militarism and conquest towards a more compassionate and ethical society. His legacy as a ruler who promoted non-violence and social welfare has had a lasting impact on Indian culture and beyond. However, it's important to note that his reign was not without its flaws.